In this example here, we're going to take a look at how to solve for g and how we can come up with that answer. So you'll notice that a couple things that maybe stand out is that we have g on the left-hand side. Okay, so that might be different for some of you. There is a minus sign in front of there, and so that's going to kind of turn some things a little bit different as well for some people. But as long as we follow our mathematical procedure in solving for linear equations, we should have no problem in getting G as our correct answer. So let's start off with how to come up with our answer here. Okay, sorry, one step ahead. First things first, I always like to get rid of the constant, if there is one, on the side with the variable. We're trying to isolate g, get it all by itself, and so we want to get rid of that constant. And in this case here, that constant is that 16. Okay, let's remove it. Okay, it's just a number. All we need to do is get rid of it by adding or really adding the opposite. So some of you might think of adding or subtracting whatever is opposite. That 16 is positive. Yeah, you heard me. It's positive, and that's because there's no sign in front of it. It's all about the sign in front, not about the sign in behind. So, or between it and the variable. So it is a positive value, so we need to subtract 16 from both sides. Very important that we do this, because if we add 16, well, then we're doing something wrong. Okay, that's not part of our mathematical procedure here. So we need to make sure that we subtract because it is a positive 16. When we do this, that negative is going to stay in front of the 3/4. That part doesn't change. The symbol or the sign in front of each number stays with that number. Okay, it's not that it disappears because there's no number in front. It's still a negative. The 7 minus 16 becomes -9, and so now we have that it becomes a little bit simpler. Okay, and when I say simpler, I don't mean easy. I mean we're getting rid of stuff to try to get g all by itself. Next step, you'll notice that we have a coefficient in front of our variable or in front of g. Now, to get rid of that, we've probably been taught that if it's a number, we divide that number away from there and divide everything by that number. Dividing by fractions can be a little more complex and may not be your favorite thing to do, and that's okay. I'm going to show you a two-step process in how to get rid of that fraction instead of just one dividing by it. So first step, we're going to get rid of the denominator of the fraction. And to do that, okay, which you may have done in the past, you may not have, is we want to multiply every term by the denominator value. So what that's going to do is it's going to cancel out the denominator where it is, okay, and it's going to just get a little bit more stuff, or it's going to just clean up a little bit more things around our variable. So let's multiply, and you'll notice here that I'm going to multiply by -4. Now you might be wondering, why by -4? Well, the coefficient in front of g is negative, okay? The top or bottom doesn't really matter, but if we multiply by negative, it's going to turn positive, which is nice. And our constant on the other side, that -9, is also negative, and so if we multiply by negative, it becomes a positive. And so what we're left with is just two positives. Now, if you multiply by +4, that's totally fine. We're going to get the same answer in the end anyways. But this way we get rid of some of those negatives and make it a little bit of a, again, I'm going to call it simpler. There's less stuff going on, and we're able to maybe try to solve it a little bit better. All right, so what we get here is 3g. So -3/4 times -4 is going to get rid of the denominator and the negative. So nice. And we're going to be left with 3g. And then -9 times -4 gives us positive 36. Again, get rid of the negatives. Okay, it just helps us out. Last step, divide both sides by 3. Okay, so that's that second step of removing a fractional coefficient. So now we divide by that numerator, and we're going to get a g value of 12. Okay, so again, this is all part of looking at how can we remove things and try to do it in a simple fashion in order to come up with our answer. Thank you for watching. All the best as you work on your practice.